towards a better and brighter future for the Agalegans and their children. In regard to these two projects in question, it is a fact that the state of the old airstrip, which was constructed in the early 80s, had worsened over time to such an extent that landing and takeoff of the Dornier aircraft had become a challenging exercise in view of the serious risks for the aircraft, its crew members, and passengers. Only some patching works had been undertaken in 1999, but that also did not last long. Thereafter, from 2003 onwards, some attempts had been made to upgrade the airstrip, but to no avail. The state of the airstrip continued to deteriorate through lack of repair and maintenance. With each landing and takeoff of the Dornier, both the aircraft and the airstrip sustained damages, so much so that a decision had to be taken by the Department of Civil Aviation to limit flying to Agalega only for urgent medical evacuation, and which was restricted to daytime only. The old jetty, which is 60 meters long, was constructed in 1985 and is in a very bad condition, despite repairs that were effected over the years. Moreover, the old jetty could not allow ships to berth, as such embarkation and disembarkation of passengers and goods had to be made via barges. Ships like MV Troketia had to lay in anchor at some 400 meters away from the jetty at the St. James anchorage, located at a reef-free area where the minimum depth of 60 meters was available. Not only that, in certain past voyages, MV Troketia could not even anchor and had to be kept on the drive for both embarkation and disembarkation of goods and passengers in the high sea due to bad weather conditions, resulting in greater risks, delays, and additional financial costs. Access to the island by air and by sea, therefore, remains severely constrained because of the poor state of the airstrip and the jetty. Mr. Speaker, sir, on acceding to power in 2014, the then government promised to ensure that the needs and requirements of our fellow citizens of Agalega were catered for. The government program 2015-2019 further provided as follows, and I quote, "Government will equip Agalega with appropriate amenities, including an airstrip and a new jetty to improve accessibility and connectivity. In view of its specificity, the use of renewable energy will be promoted there." Unquote. Mr. Speaker, sir, following consultations between the Government of Mauritius and the Government of India, a memorandum of understanding for the improvement in sea and air transportation facilities at Agalega was signed during the visit of His Excellency Sri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, to Mauritius in March 2015. The realization of these two major infrastructural development projects in Agalega is yet another testimony of this long-standing relationship of mutual benefits and trust between our two countries. These projects will go a long way towards improving the air and sea access to the island and contribute significantly to improving the standard of living of our Agalegan brothers and sisters, as well as also broaden the scope of economic activities in Agalega. In addition, the implementation of these projects will also cater to the future development needs of Agalega, as well as implementation of measures to promote, protect, and safeguard our maritime security needs in the following areas. Amongst others, 1. Surveillance and monitoring of our vast EEZ of 2.3 million square kilometers. 2. Counter-piracy, counter-terrorism, counter-narcotics and human trafficking. 3. Controlling poaching and illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing. 4. Provision of hydrographic services. 5. Promoting economic development, including blue economy initiatives. 6. Emergency response, including search and rescue. 7. Marine pollution response. And 8. Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief activities. Mr. Speaker, sir, the actual works on these two main projects started in October 2018. However, mobilization of resources and progress of work were severely affected by the challenging sea conditions which pose serious difficulties in the supply of construction material to the island. It must be pointed out that the projects involve a significant amount of mobilization of plant, machineries, and equipment, such as barges, tugs, dumpers, batching plants, pavers, sewage treatment plant, desalination plants, amongst others. This is exclusive of accommodation that had to be constructed for workers, workshops, and medical facilities at site. Later, the unforeseeable circumstances created by the COVID-19 pandemic had also severely impacted the project and resulted in decrease in work progress due to inability to mobilize manpower with required skills as well as construction materials, which led, in fact, to considerable delay in the realization of those projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, I must also point out that the Agalega Infrastructural Development Project included surface dressing of the existing airstrip. As I said earlier, the coral bed airstrip is a primitive structure with periodic peeling off of debris due to the impact of landing aircrafts. Accordingly, an additional layer of surface dressing was applied over the entire airstrip, which was thereafter compacted with rollers to ensure the free debris were arrested. In addition, as a standard operating practice, inspection and compacting was ensured as and when required before every emergency sortie of Donye to Agalega to ensure safer landing and takeoff and avoid any damage to the aircraft. Mr. Speaker, sir, the new airstrip is 3 kilometers long and 45 meters wide in north-south orientation, Unlike the existing airstrip, the new airstrip is an all-weather concrete airstrip with capabilities for day and night landing. This material-intensive project required mobilization of a large quantum of construction materials. All civil works of the airstrip, including taxiway and apron, have been completed. The works on associated infrastructure, such as air traffic control tower, firefighting services, passenger terminal building, aircraft hangar, and electrical substation were also severely impacted due to COVID-19 pandemic. But these works have also been completed, except for certain peripheral works like navigation, meteorological equipment, which are expected to be completed by December 2024. Trial landings during daytime had been undertaken successfully by the Dornier aircraft and the ATR-72 in March 2023 and in February 2024, respectively. I would also like to point out that the new airstrip will allow night flights. Mr. Speaker, sir, in regard to the new jetty, I am informed that this was the more complicated aspect of the project, with work interface at the sea. However, despite the several challenges, all works related to the new jetty have been completed, and this jetty would be able to accommodate up to 3 ships at a time. Inaugural berthing of both MV Troketia and CGS Barracuda were undertaken during the inauguration of the new jetty. Mr. Speaker, sir, following the 2019 general elections, new government renewed its commitment to develop the island and optimize its economic potential with the establishment of the new jetty and airstrip. In this regard, in spite of the setback caused by COVID-19 pandemic, which impacted heavily on the implementation schedule, the government of Mauritius extended its full support for the timely realization of the project. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House will be aware that I visited Agalega from 29 February to 2nd of March 2024 for the inauguration of the new airstrip, the new jetty, and 6 other small development projects, jointly with His Excellency Sri Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of the Republic of India, who was live from New Delhi. The official delegation comprised, inter alia, 5 ministers, namely the Vice Prime Minister, Minister of Local Government and Disaster Risk Management, the Minister of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, the Minister of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation, the Minister of Blue Economy, Marine Resources, Fisheries and Shipping, and the Minister of Youth Empowerment, Sports and Recreation. 3 members of the National Assembly representing constituency number 3, Port Louis Maritime and Port Louis East, 2 parliamentary private secretaries, the High Commissioner of the Republic of India, senior government officials, representatives from 5 private press, the Mauritius Broadcasting Corporation, and the Government Information Service. All the costs, including travel and accommodation, were borne by government. The Honorable Leader of the Opposition was also invited to form part of the delegation, but his Secretariat subsequently informed my office that he would not be joining the delegation. Honorable Shakil Mohammed also did not turn up despite being invited. The inauguration ceremony was held on Thursday, 29th of February 2024 at 11:30 hours and was attended by a large number of Agaligans. His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi and I jointly unveiled the e-plaques for the following projects: the new airstrip, the new jetty, and 6 other small development projects. Mr. Speaker, sir, these 6 small projects are the following. 1. Construction of a library with computers and IT infrastructure. The project has been implemented on the North Island in Village 25 to cater to the needs of both school goers as well as the local residents. It is also equipped with 4 computers with internet connection. 2. Construction of a larger shop. The project has been implemented on the North Island in Village 25 to provide a fully air-conditioned larger shop with better storage conditions. 3. Construction of an office cum administrative quarters on South Island. The project has been implemented on the South Island in Village Saint Rita, as the South Island did not have an appropriate administrative office, as well as the existing shop is small and old. This building also has an earmarked area which will function as community center for South Island. 4. Construction of fish landing station. The project has been implemented on the North Island at La Fourche. The purpose of the fish landing station is to facilitate and promote fishing activities in Agaliga. 5. Construction of a community multipurpose hall. The project has been implemented on the North Island in Village 25. It consists of the construction of a building to accommodate a community multipurpose hall for social activities. 6. 2 kiosks at both alighting points on both North and South Islands. The project consists of the construction of 1 kiosk at La Pointe on the North Island and 1 kiosk at La Pointe on the South Island to provide shelter for passengers waiting to board. Mr. Speaker, sir, all these infrastructural development projects have been entirely financed by the government of India. I again express my deepest gratitude to His Excellency Shri Narendra Modi and the government of the Republic of India for their generous and valuable support in the socio-economic development of Agaliga. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the most visible and valuable benefits of the new jetty project is that all disembarkation, unloading, and embarkation loading operations are now being undertaken in much safer conditions. The House will recall that formerly all such operations were undertaken on the high sea, with all its inherent risks and difficulties. Furthermore, all those operations are now taking much less time as it used to before. Mr. Speaker, sir, these projects have indeed translated my vision and that of my government to spearhead development in every single part of our territory into a reality. In my speech at the inauguration ceremony, I stated that the quality of life of our Agalegan brothers and sisters will improve, as these projects will generate significant economic activities and employment opportunities for both the North and the South Islands. I again reassured everybody, especially the Agalegans, that there has never been any agenda to transform Agalega into a military base. I note, however, that in spite of the reassurance given, the opposition, some members of the opposition here, are continuing their campaign of disinformation and instilling fear and doubts in the minds of the people. They are still raising questions about the length of the new airstrip, which according to them is too long. Mr. Speaker, sir, the length of the airstrip is commensurate with the objectives of these facilities, which I enumerated earlier. As I mentioned, the delegation which proceeded to Agalega also included 5 members of the private press who had reached Agalega on 27th of February 2024. That is 2 days prior to the inauguration ceremony. Therefore, they had had ample time to visit every nook and corner of both North and South Islands. I must say that none of their post-visit reports have confirmed any of the allegations, accusations, and insinuations that the opposition had been making against the projects, both outside and inside the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, the 2 members from the opposition who were in Agalega as part of the delegation were also totally free to move around and see for themselves the projects being implemented on the island. The leaders of the parties in the opposition could have asked those 2 members whether they have seen the underwater tunnels or whether they had seen any submarines, warplanes, or warships, which they had been talking about in the local media at a certain point in time. I must say that it is only the opposition here in Mauritius that is distilling all sorts of rumors on the Agalega projects. Most of the people of Agalega have in fact welcomed the realization of these projects. I would invite the opposition to listen to the speech of the resident manager of Agalega at the inauguration ceremony. In fact, in his speech, the acting resident manager, Mr. Emmanuel Jaspin, conveyed on behalf of the inhabitants of Agalega his heartfelt gratitude to the Government of India for its tremendous support and assistance extended to Agalega. He also thanked the government to have kept the development of Agalega high on its agenda and indicated that the dream of Agalegans for better connectivity and a better standard of living has been realized. He also mentioned the new relations and friendship between the inhabitants of Agalega and the people of India through the project monitoring team, the staff of AFCONS and rights, and other technical specialists. Monsieur le Président, durant ma visite à Agalega, j'ai eu l'occasion de constater, de visu, le potentiel de développement qu'offre l'île et surtout le retard à être rattrapé dans différents secteurs tels que la télécommunication, le logement, l'éducation, la santé, la pêche et d'autres. Durant ma visite, j'ai aussi eu l'occasion de rencontrer les représentants des Agaléens qui ont fait quelques propositions, précisément dans le domaine de la santé, l'éducation et la formation, afin de continuer à améliorer la qualité de la vie des Agaléens. Monsieur le Président, avec la réalisation de ces 2 projets majeurs qui vont grandement améliorer l'accès aérien et maritime, nous allons certainement pouvoir adresser les préoccupations des Agaléens avec beaucoup plus d'efficacité. Mr. Speaker, sir, regarding the interaction with the representatives of the Agalean community of the North and the South Islands, I have requested my office to ensure the necessary follow-up on the issues raised by them. I must point out that a committee at the level of my office is currently working on a master plan for the development of Agalega. The committee will work in collaboration with all the ministries concerned and the OIDC to ensure that all issues, including those raised during my visit, are addressed, namely implementation of mitigation measures against beach erosion, protection of historical monuments, provision of sports facilities, development of fishing, upgrading of health services, boosting food crops and livestock production, improving fire and rescue service, enhancement of educational facilities, improvement of land transport facilities, improvement of internet and mobile connectivity, construction of housing units and maintenance of existing units and staff quarters, and employment opportunities and training. Mr. Speaker, sir, coconut oil extraction being one of the main activities on the island, I am informed that one new coconut oil extraction machine has been generously provided by RIGHTS under its Corporate Social Responsibility Program. The new machine has already been delivered on site and will be installed shortly. In addition, the OIDC is in the process of procuring another new coconut oil extraction machine, which is expected to be delivered and installed in 2 months' time. Moreover, the OIDC is working on a project for further exploitation of coconut byproducts. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have also heard queries regarding operation of commercial flights to Agalega. I wish to reiterate what I said during my press statement in Agalega on 1st of March 2024. Proper planning and consultations need to be carried out with all relevant stakeholders for the airstrip to become operational for commercial flights. In addition to financial viability, there are several technical and operational requirements that need to be catered for to ensure the smooth operation of commercial flights. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Director of Civil Aviation and the management of Air Mauritius that, at present, the core facilities are available and same have already been published in the Aeronautical Information Publication Supplement. However, there are certain other requirements that need to be looked into. I am also informed by the Director General of Immigration that in accordance with Sections 2 and 22(1) of the Immigration Act of 2022, the terminal at Agalega will have to be declared a port of entry to enable it to operate as such. Mr. Speaker, sir, all these requirements are being examined at the level of the committee I just mentioned, and subsequently, recommendations will be made on the way forward. In regard to staffing of the new facilities, the committee at the level of my office is currently working on the operational requirements, including manpower deployment. Appropriate provisions will be made in the coming budget for those operational requirements from the Mauritian side. I must point out here that that the airstrip and the jetty will be vested in the Mauritius Police Force, which will have full control of these facilities. However, the Government of India will assist the Government of Mauritius in the operation and maintenance of the facilities, particularly in scarcity areas. Obviously, the human resource requirements will evolve over time. As I said, we do not foresee the start of commercial flights anytime soon, as this will depend on the viability of such flights and the availability of proper and adequate accommodation and ground handling services. Mr. Speaker, sir, the setting up of this new airstrip and jetty facilities in Agalega is the fulfillment of yet another Mauritian dream, which many generations have cherished in their hearts. However, the realization of such a mega project at 1,100 kilometers away from mainland Mauritius was a daunting challenge indeed. And I must say that the realization of these projects would not have been possible without the support and assistance of the Government of India. Let me restate in no uncertain terms that the agreement signed between the Government of Mauritius and the Government of India satisfy the principles of mutual benefit as well as that of being in strict compliance with the sacrosanct principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. There is no doubt that with the new facilities in Agalega, there is a huge potential for developing economic activities on the islands while preserving its ecosystems, as is the case for Rodrigues and eventually the Chagos Archipelago. The socio-economic development in Agalega will contribute to increasing wealth creation in our republic, but more importantly, will ensure that none of our fellow citizens living in our outer islands are left behind while the Republic cruises towards a better and brighter future. Thank you.
Time is over. I can't allow you to finish the question. Time is over. Questions B92, B94 have been withdrawn. Question to other ministers. Honourable members, the table has been advised that PQB 107 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Youth Empowerment, Sports and Recreation. B110 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of Land Transport and Light Rail. PQB 121 will be replied by the Honourable Minister of National Infrastructure and Community Development. I will now call on Honourable Kirin.
B99.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to public concerts and other cultural events, my ministry had several meetings with representatives of l'Association L'Union des Artistes and events organizers to address inter alia this issue. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I wish to inform the House that l'Association L'Union des Artistes had, at a meeting held at my ministry on the 21st December 2023, in the presence of the representatives of the police department, submitted a list of 5 proposed sites, namely Domaine VIP Business Park, Richter Business Park, Domaine 7 Cascades, Médine Football Pitch, Côte d'Or, and Domaine Saint-Aubin. The Commissioner of Police has, after carrying out site visits at these 5 sites, informed my ministry recently that only 2 of them, namely Côte d'Or and Domaine 7 Cascades, have been found conducive for the holding of public concerts and other cultural events. As regards the holding of public concerts at the Anjale Copen Stadium, I will refer the answer to the other PQ coming down afterwards. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part B of the question, 7 meetings have been held with representatives of l'Association de l'Union des Artistes and professional events organizers on the 17th of July 2023, 27th October 2023, 21st, 26th, and 28th December 2023, 26th February 2024, and on the 20th March 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards part C of the question, as mentioned earlier in reply to another PQ, B1727 on the same issue, the holding of public concerts is regulated by the Public Gathering Act 1991 and other applicable legislations. Accordingly, necessary clearances have to be sought and obtained from the competent authorities prior to authorization be given for the holding of concerts and cultural events. It must be emphasized, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the organization of musical concerts has not been prohibited by government, but of course appropriate clearances are required for same from the relevant authorities.
Monsieur le Président, je dois faire ressortir que l'honorable ministre avait pris l'engagement, qu'il avait promis de prendre les choses en main et que rapidement son ministère allait venir avec un one-stop shop qui allait permettre aux artistes, aux organisateurs d'événements de voir la lumière au bout du tunnel. Mais l'honorable ministre peut-il nous dire pourquoi pratiquement une année, malgré toutes les rencontres et réunions qui ont eu lieu entre lui et les artistes et les organisateurs de concerts, aucune solution n'a été trouvée et aucune proposition concrète faite aux artistes et aux professional event organizers à ce jour?
Mr. Speaker, sir, firstly, the question does not relate to one-stop shop. The question relates to sites, appropriate sites for holding of concerts. So my answer is limited to the question. Coming to various meetings being held, of course, it does take time, Mr. Speaker, sir, because when we're talking about public concerts, we're talking about cultural events. So many other authorities are concerned. So many other authorities are involved. And as I mentioned, we had a very constructive meeting where proposals were tabled in terms of where we can hold concerts. The Commissioner of Police has recommended certain sites, which I mentioned. There is also the Angelique Coupen Stadium that is being considered. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is very wrong to say that nothing is being done. And also, as I said, government has never prohibited the organization of concerts. It's a matter of getting the right clearances. And the one-stop shop I mentioned, we are working on it, we will come forward, but at no point does that hinder the organization of concerts. One example, Mr. Speaker, sir, for instance, following an application made by Ecos Production, there is a concert being held on the 6th and the 7th of April 2024 by Prophecy and other artists. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's very wrong to say that nothing is being done or that concerts are not being organized.
Il y a une politique de 2 poids, 2 mesures dans l'octroi de permis par les autorités.
Honourable Member, calm yourself. The Minister just said the question should be linked to the main question. So this is a comment. This is an opinion you're making. Put a question. Put your question.
I will do it. I will do it. Comme je le disais, Monsieur le Président, certains concerts sont autorisés, d'autres pas. Le ministre a-t-il été informé que certains, je le dis bien, certains ripoux se font grassement payer afin de faciliter les formalités d'usage qui, dans certains cas, prennent des mois? En est-il au courant?
Mr. Speaker, sir, these are very serious allegations and warrant a proper complaint to the police. So rather than asking me that question, if the honourable member has information, if he has information...
So let me put the question straightforward. Can you substantiate what you just said in Parliament? If this goes to the court, you have to say the same thing that you say here now. Can you, Honourable Kirin, can you... Please, I am talking. can you substantiate the allegation you just made in Parliament right now? Yes or no?
I'm asking a question to the Honourable Minister.
No, don't run away. Don't run away. Don't run away. Don't run away. Quiet. Quiet. There is only one MP Kirin. And there is only one question. So I reiterate my question. Can you substantiate?
I'm the one who
No, if you can't substantiate, I disallow the question. So you can't substantiate, I disallow the question.
I'm the one who asked question.
I am asking you, can you substantiate on the allegation against the police? If you can substantiate, I will allow the question. If you can't substantiate, I disallow the question. So you can't substantiate, I disallow the question.